Alright folks, hi everybody, my name is the Backyard Swordsman, and this is going to be the first official video for my channel. Now I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself. As far as training goes, I am mostly self-taught. I don't have that much experience with certain kinds of weapons. I have experience with European style swords more. I know how to use a rapier and a longsword and a greatsword, a pike, spear. I know how to use those weapons. But the thing is that for today, I'm going to be doing some talking about weapons, about Japanese weapons, specifically the katana. And the reason for that is because I have two currently in my possession. One, I've actually done some research on, and I know what it is. This is a Hanwei Practical, I believe it is a Practical Plus Katana. It's not the Pro or the Practical, basic, but I believe it is a Practical Plus Katana. It's got, nice, a nice sharp blade, as I found out once, thanks to a little accident I had. And the funny thing was that the accident wasn't quite my fault. It's not like I was doing anything stupid with it. I quite literally had it strapped to my waist. I have a little sash that I have that I tucked it into and everything. And apparently, it's very loose. Because I just tilted forward just a little bit. Blade slid out, impacted the ground, and it slid out all the way. And it went falling blade first, somehow, and it nicked my middle finger here. And it did a pretty decent job of slicing it open. So, yeah. This thing is definitely, I don't want to say battle ready, because battle ready has a lot of misconnotations to it. But that's honestly probably the most appropriate term for it. It is a definite battle ready weapon. I have to keep it oiled. It's made out of, I believe, 1060 carbon steel. And yeah, it'll definitely slice through, water bottles, tatami mats, and just about anything else. So yeah, this one's not a toy. Of course, technically, I don't think any weapon, and I don't consider any weapon to be a toy. I have wall hangers, and those technically aren't even toys for me. Because while the wall hanger is not as structurally sound as an actual katana is, it can still do some damage. It can still poke an eye out, and it can definitely kill you in the right circumstances. So yeah, that is my Practical Plus katana. The only thing I really hate about this, it's not, actually, I don't hate the blade. I love the blade. I hate about it is the scabbard. It just seems to have wood shavings going everywhere and coating the blade, and that's not good. I don't like that. It's the only thing I don't like about this particular product. Now, the second sword that I have, I just got earlier today at, of all places, a gun show. I'm going to let that sink in. I got this next blade that I have at a gun show. Now, this next blade is very interesting because I was told that this blade came from 19th century China. Now, I've done some research, not on this particular blade, but on the other one, the Hanwei Katana, and, I found that it was a Hanwei Katana. Now, I put a down payment on this blade several months ago, and I've tried doing research on it, and I haven't found much of anything. Um, Now, the thing is that, the guy said this was a supposedly 19th century Chinese katana. And I do know that the Chinese did make katanas. They might not have made them in the traditional fashion of the Japanese, but they did make katanas. Um, Now, I don't know, honestly, what the deal is with this blade. I don't know if it's an actual antique. I ran into some people at the gun show, and one of them was I think, a World War II veteran. He said that when he went over to Japan, you know, people were grabbing these weapons, off the, fallen soldiers, and even the soldiers that didn't die, they had to give up their weapons. People were grabbing them and bringing them back to the States. Here's the thing, I don't know enough about Japanese, sword history in general to date this. I don't know if this is a genuine, antique or not. But the thing is, I ran into several people actually that said it was an antique. The person I bought it from said that he bought it from someone else who said that this was a, ancient sword, and I'm like, okay. I bought it, and then I ran into several other people at the gun show, the World War II vet guy. And then I ran into someone else, younger guy, much younger than the vets, who was like that this was a fake, a replica that someone just made to look old, And honestly, I'm going to take what he said with a grain of salt, because he was a gun owner. He was a gun person. He didn't know much about swords, As far as I know, he doesn't have any swords, manship experience. So I'm gonna have to take what he said with a grain of salt. The older guys, they're a more reliable source of information because, one of them was actually there in World War II, and number two, the others, they're, I hope I don't get any flack with this, but they're old people. And, certain old people know a lot of stuff. They're very wise. But for me, in general, I don't know. I have no idea if this is an actual ancient Japanese or Chinese sword. And, it's interesting. I looked at it, and, I felt, the balance of it. This one is a lot heavier. Well, not a lot heavier. I shouldn't say a lot heavier. The Practical Plus Katana that I had, the black one, weighs 3 pounds with the scabbard. The scabbard itself weighs about a pound. The blade, the weapon itself, weighs around 2 pounds. This one weighs 4 pounds. The scabbard, I'm going to say, weighs at least 1 pound because, honestly, this thing's pretty heavy. And the blade itself probably weighs a good 3. Now, the interesting thing to note about this particular weapon, oh man, this thing is heavy. Jeez. I mean, I did some training with the Practical Plus Katana, and that thing was nice and light. I'm going to have to do more training with this one because this thing is heavy. Now, I don't know if you can probably see it. I probably can't, but almost all of this is rusted. The guard, the Suba, the plate covering here. This thing is also rusted, and if I look, it looks like almost the handle, or not the handle, but the tang could be a little rusted as well. Actually, sorry, back to the blade. I don't know if you can see it, but it looks almost like Damascus, and I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly. It looks almost like Damascus steel. You can see the pattern. Looks like from when they welded it, or not welded it, from when they forged it. You can see that pattern in there, the ripples and everything. And another thing to note is you probably won't be able to see this, honestly. I'm going to try and be careful here and I will oil the blade down because it needs a good oiling. There's some rust on it. But there is a serial number stamped on here. And it is 33337. Now that leads me to believe that this could be a genuine, Chinese or Japanese blade. As opposed to the Hanwei one, which is, it could, the Hanwei is, a nice blade. I don't know if it was forged here in America or in China. It's probably not forged in Japan, now that I think about it. But this could very well be an authentic, Chinese or Japanese blade that I have here. I just don't know. I don't have enough research, put into this weapon to know that. But yeah, I just bought this today. And that really intrigues me about the history or supposed history behind this weapon. So if any of you know anything about ancient Japanese or Chinese weapons, then post in the comments, because I don't know enough to judge if whether or not this is an authentic antique blade. And honestly, if it is, I really shouldn't be touching it right now. But I will be wiping this off later, probably after the video. Oh man, this thing is surprisingly heavy. I mean, geez. Trying to use this one-handed would be, well, it wouldn't be difficult if I trained, because I trained to use the Hanwei one-handed, and I'm fairly proficient at that. So this one, all it would just take is more training. Dang. And I don't know if you've noticed, this particular blade has this little thingy here. And it also has these loops on one end and on the other. And what I found out is that it's a hidden blade type mechanism thing. It's a little blade that you can take out and I guess, I don't know, stab someone if they get too close and you don't have this. You just slide that thing out and be like, surprise! But I don't know, honestly, why this is here. I'm just guessing as a backup of some sort. But yeah. I found that out and I was kind of ecstatic at that. That was very interesting. It has a nice little hidden compartment blade. But yeah. It has some nice little engravings on it, Looks like it's made out of either copper or brass, probably bronze. The end cap here has some rust on it. Looks like a lime skill, I think. Yeah, and and the pommel. It's probably not what it's called in Japan or Japanese or Chinese. It looks like it has a picture of Buddha on it. But I honestly can't tell if it is Buddha or not. Another interesting thing to note is that the handle is curved. I don't know if you can actually see that, but the handle has a curve in it, which I found very interesting. Because the Practical Katana, this one doesn't. It's a nice straight, handle. Yeah, and it's, I thought that was very interesting about this one. This one I felt was more like a museum piece, and this one, the other one, the Practical Katana, is more like an actual weapon. Even then, that still wouldn't stop me from using this, and I do plan on doing a future video about dual wielding these, because that's one thing that, really irks me, is that there are a lot of people out there who like to state their opinion as fact, and they like to say that it's impossible to dual wield katanas, and that it's not practical. And my thing is this: have you ever tried dual wielding katanas? Have you ever, had two katanas that you could do that with? And now that I do have 2 katanas I can do that with, I will be doing a future video on how to dual wield them. Because I've had some practice in dual wielding. I have some practice weapons around here that I've done dual wielding with, and it's, you know, fairly easy. The weapons don't get tangled up, they don't cross each other, they don't get locked up or anything. You know, that's one thing that I don't like about a lot of the videos out there, is there were these supposedly 2 swordsmen who are supposed to be like instructors or something like that, and they have these 2 rapiers, and they're like, well, if you do this, the blades will get, stuck or caught or whatever, and it's like, I'm just going to come out and say that I think that's stupid, because in real life, if you, dual wield, you're going to find a way to wield them. You're going to find a way to use them effectively, This is real life we're talking about. This isn't some stupid movie or anything like that. You can effectively dual wield these 2 weapons. I mean, as a little demonstration, I can actually do this, hopefully without getting myself killed. I'll have to wipe that off. Not exactly getting myself killed, but without hurting myself. There goes that. This weapon is actually fairly heavy. This one's way lighter. But anyway, both of these are the same length. Now, they're not the same weight, and that could probably be a potential issue, but again, training. Training's all you need. Some people have said that the handles are too long, and they're not, too long, really. It all comes down to how you use them, honestly. That's it. That's all it is. Because you can move both of these around pretty effectively. I can't show it to you now because I'm in my room, not out in the backyard, like my namesake is. But yeah, I'll be showing you guys how to dual these in a later video. Because it can be done, despite what a lot of people say, and try to, spout off as fact when it's nothing more than their basic general opinion of the matter. And yeah, that is it for my first video. So, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all next time.